Hey everyone, just know that you can use the promo code BROADS for $20 off of your SeatGeek's total purchase, so make sure you get yourself to a game. Yes! It's a big-time victory out of the Philadelphia Eagles to go into Buffalo and win 31-13, dominated the game, and they literally ran over the Bills. The run game today stole the headlines. Jordan Howard, Miles Sanders, what a combination between those two, and it's something I discussed in my preview video. I've seen this team be successful in Green Bay. I saw them put together a game plan that was very, very good, and it started with running the ball. It seems like this team can actually be effective when they run the football. The offensive line created so many nice opportunities for the backs to run. This was a game where they controlled the line of scrimmage, where they controlled the flow, and it was a tough environment. You had the problems with the wind and the weather. It wasn't cooperating. It wasn't this sunny day in Buffalo where you could throw the ball 80 yards downfield. No. You had to play ugly football at times, and that led the Eagles into what we realized is the greatest part of this team. Let's be real. If we can run the ball like this consistently, it will change what the outcome of this season can be. Jordan Howard was a beast. This guy could not be stopped. As a whole, the Eagles ran for 218 yards on this Buffalo Bills defense. This Bills defense is very respected. They are a hard-working group of guys. They are a tough team to play against. Our offense has struggled so much this season so far through 8 games. They've looked abysmal, but it's wild how things open up when you can establish the run game. Carson Wentz was phenomenal as well. Here's the thing, when you can actually establish the run, there's less pressure on Carson to have to throw dots and force throws to these receivers that really can't do anything, like Mac Hollins and Nelson Agholor. We're at the point now with Nelson Agholor where we're trying to get him to run sweeps because he just can't catch the damn ball. He's fast, right? So we try and force him the ball that way, and we try to get him the ball, but it doesn't really work other than one time in the game. There's so much less pressure on Carson to have to throw these insane balls consistently to the receivers when you're actually getting good yardage out of the backs. When you look at Jordan Howard's day, 23 carries, which is obnoxious for the Doug Pederson era for one running back to have 23 carries, for 96 yards, and he had a touchdown. Miles Sanders had a 65-yard touchdown, and this thing was beautiful. The dude's explosiveness was unreal. His speed, that burst of speed, he couldn't get touched. We haven't seen a run like that out of Miles Sanders yet this season. It has taken 8 weeks to finally see the second-round talent out of Miles Sanders in the run game. Sure, he's made plenty of plays catching the ball at times, but we haven't seen it just straight up running. And we saw one monster play today, a difference-making play. These two backs are scary. They really are. Jordan Howard running the ball downhill. We traded a 6th-round pick for this guy. That's a steal. That's robbery. The guy running downhill is a force. And the Bills' defense, so tired out. They were fatigued. They didn't want any part of Jordan Howard continuing to run the ball the way that he did. Miles Sanders did get hurt in this game, though, and left. Went back into the tunnel, went back into the locker room, and that was that, which ended up being crucial because Scott came in the game. Scott scored a touchdown, but he also had to return a punt, and he fumbled that punt. But we'll get to that part of it. There was one, not just one actually, there are multiple big moments in this game that I thought the Eagles totally knocked out of the park. But one specific drive that stood out to me the most was in the fourth quarter. 8+ minutes running the football. Carson Wentz runs for 13 yards, makes the play happen. That was a Carson Wentz type play. Didn't have what was available. Scrambles, makes a play, gain of 13. How about a 3rd and 10 conversion with Carson Wentz running the ball? And then a 3rd and 8 conversion to Zach Ertz. So with the ability to run, using the running backs, the ability of Carson Wentz making plays himself, and then throwing a beautiful pass to Zach Ertz, the Eagles were able to burn 8+ minutes on the clock and take a 31-13 lead. That was a killer for the Bills. So for all the Carson Wentz haters out there, those Philadelphia Eagles fans that hate Carson Wentz and say that he can't put a drive together late, this was a back-breaking drive and crushed the soul of the Bills fans in this game. It was huge. It was crucial. It was one hell of a drive. And the ability to run takes so much pressure off of Carson Wentz, so he's able to make plays happen. The Green Bay game, it's literally the same exact way the Green Bay game played out. Ran the ball. Carson Wentz made plays when needed. Made a chunk play here and there when needed. Same exact thing here. Let's talk about the defense, because Mills and Darby started. Okay, we're starting to get back players that can actually somewhat do something in this league. I mean, we've been using crap off the street, a.k.a. Orlando Scandrick, and things of that nature. We have players who can somewhat hold their own, and they did that in this game. There were opportunities for the defense to get off the field, and they allowed 3rd and longs, and that's very frustrating. I understand that. But they also only allowed 13 points. One drive that I will look at the defense, and I have to say you need to be better, is this moment here. Once Sanders scored that 65-yard touchdown, the Birds were up 17-7. Multiple 3rd and longs allowed. The touchdown was scored on a legit dump-off play, and it was embarrassing. The score became 17-13 in that moment. We just scored. We can't allow them to go downfield, convert these 3rd and longs, and provide a spark. Now, I look at the special teams unit in that moment. They block the extra point, and Rasul Douglas has the ball in his hands to actually go down and score points off that extra point that was blocked, and he just missed it, and he couldn't actually gather it. It seems like it's not a big deal, but that can be a difference-making play and be a reason why you either win or lose. There's no reason Rasul Douglas shouldn't have the ball in his hands and go down and score. So in that scenario, I look at the defense and I'm pretty disgusted. You can't allow that to happen. You just cannot. You take the 17-7 lead, and then bang. With all these 3rd down conversions, they make it 17-13. We just get a little lucky with an extra point block. But what I loved was the response by the Eagles offense. The Eagles offense today was something truly special, and it dominated the Bills. The response, Alshon with a chunk play, running the football, Jordan Howard, and Scott finally punches it in to make it 24-13. But that is when Scott actually fumbled the punt return, the next punt return option or opportunity. He fumbled it. But the defense, once again going back to the defense, made a play. And the Bills went for it on 4th down. And Ronald Darby, of all people, actually defended the pass and knocked it down. When was the last time the Eagles had a cornerback that made a play like that? Where the ball was coming in. Hold on, wait for it. He used his hands to bat it down because he was in good coverage. I mean, really, when was the last time you saw an Eagles cornerback actually do that? I don't know if I've seen Sidney Jones do that. Speaking of Sidney Jones, he got torched by Cole Beasley. Oh, man, how about it? Cole Beasley just torching Sidney Jones. It is something else. But the defensive line got pressure today. Josh Allen fumbled the ball 3 times. We only recovered it once. But that one time, was a game-changing fumble. At the end of the first half, the Eagles take advantage of that fumble. Carson to Dallas Goedert in the end zone. The Eagles are up 9-7, and Doug Pederson, because of the weather, goes for 2, and Miles Sanders gets the 2-point conversion on a nice little pitch to the right side, and we're up 11-7. Doug Pederson having balls, going for 2. At the time, I didn't love it. I'll be honest with you. There are times when I love it at a Doug. I didn't in that situation. The weather was brutal. It could have been way worse there than it was watching on TV, because it seemed like it somewhat died out because the commentators stopped talking about how brutal the wind was. So I figured, maybe it stopped a little bit. But I guess Doug made the right decision. 1, because they converted, and 2, later in the game, Jake Elliott actually missed an extra point. So the wind clearly a factor there in the kicking game. But I was talking about the defensive line. Brandon Graham, monster performance. A big-time player today in the game. Fletcher Cox was getting in the mix. Barnett, you're starting to see spurts of Barnett. You're starting to see little spurts here and there of him being effective and being aggressive and getting to the quarterback. One of the things I mentioned in the preview video was the fact that this Bills team struggles to score points. They just don't score points. Josh Allen was able to be effective with running around and making plays happen with his feet, but they don't have these monster playmakers. They just don't. They can't move the ball that well. He is a unique talent, but it's not like he has this cannon that is very precise. He can throw the ball far, but can he do it with precision as well, and can he put it in the right places? He doesn't consistently, and that's a problem. So he relies a lot on his run game to help as well, and there were times where he was carving up the defense alone, but Jim Schwartz made an adjustment, switched to putting a bunch of linebackers out there. It's funny, everyone talks about how stubborn Jim Schwartz is. He's been the complete opposite so far this year. He's brought the blitz. He sat back. He switches to put a bunch of linebackers in there to try and stop Josh Allen from running the ball so much. And he has been making different adjustments and trying new things, which is new for Jim Schwartz because, he has been stubborn so far throughout his entire career as defensive coordinator. But the defense, I thought, did fine. 3rd and longs, yes, that has to be fixed. And that one scenario I mentioned where we score with the Sanders touchdown, we allow the third downs, and they go down and score, it's painful. It's painful. There are moments where I think they need to find a way to be a little bit better. But ultimately, they did have some big-time stops. They did have some 3-and-outs forced. The defense did their job, and they were getting pressure. It's crazy how much changes once you get pressure. Not only that, you have cornerbacks, like I stated, who have at least experienced some sort of NFL play and can hold their own to an extent. When I say that, I'm not trying to make it seem like we have these sick elite corners. Jalen Mills and Ronald Darby, they're not that, but they can at least hold their own to an extent. That's as far as I can go. Because keep in mind, this Ronald Darby guy is the same guy that through the first 3 weeks, we were all screaming to get him out of here. And Jalen Mills, how many times were we screaming to get him out of here too because of biting on the double move? So they're not elite talent, but they had a good game today, and it's nice to at least see players who have played in this league before. It was a great win, all right? To establish the run game, hopefully this team can realize what they can do and the damage that they can do with the running game. Miles Sanders, hopefully he's okay. I pray he's okay because him and Jordan Howard have been lethal. Really, they have been difference makers. When you look at the most successful wins so far this season, it goes through them. When the defense doesn't give up a back-breaking 65-yard touchdown pass when guys sneak behind them, when the Eagles run the ball, and when Carson makes the chunk play needed, whether it's to Alshon or Dallas Goedert or Zach Ertz, the team wins. The team wins. 218 yards rushing on this Bills defense. One of the knocks on the Bills is, they're 5-2 at this point because the Eagles beat them. 5-1 heading into the game, but they haven't really beaten any good teams. The Jets, the Giants, the Dolphins, the Bengals. They haven't played great teams. But I also stated, are the Eagles a great team or a good team? What are they? We don't know. That's the problem. We don't know. We're 4-4. What are the Eagles? We still don't know. We need to see more of this before we can actually say what they are. But what I love is it seems like there's a blueprint. Green Bay on the road on a short week. Pound the rock, Doug. Go to Buffalo. Pound the rock, Doug. And it was a dominating performance offensively. I think we see something there. I think we do. I know Carson Wentz is a great quarterback. You don't need to force him to throw the ball all the time to make plays. You put the ball in your playmaker's hands. That's what everybody says, right? I get that. But Jordan Howard and Miles Sanders seem to be working as a duo threat here as playmakers as well, and effective ones. Jordan Howard was carrying Bills defenders for a good 5-6 yards, and he was churning and keeping the legs moving. He put on one hell of a display. So, 4-4. 4-4 now after 8. They stay alive. That's all that matters. They stay alive. Because a loss here would have been brutal. It would have hurt. We'd be watching football and really knowing deep down, it's going to be tough to actually make anything happen. 4-4, staying alive. And maybe you can thank Orlando Scandrick for those comments. I didn't really get into it too much. I thought what he said, we already knew. It's just a new voice saying it, and of course Eagles fans are going to freak out because it was a Dallas Cowboy who said it, and it was someone who just got cut who said it, and I thought that there were things that he might have fabricated a little bit because he's on TV, but I thought a lot of it, there's definitely truth to it, but I didn't feel like getting into it because we all knew it. We all knew what he said already. There's drama in the locker room. But him coming out and saying it on Fox Sports 1 on Undisputed, maybe that fueled the team a little bit in the locker room, and maybe it brought them together a little bit more, so they came out and they were trying to prove everyone wrong. Hold on. Let me know if you heard this before. Maybe they think not everyone believes in them. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. Great win. Doug Pederson, Carson Wentz, the run game, the defense, Jim Schwartz, except for a couple moments here and there. Great game. There was one play call, though, with Doug Pederson that fired me up. It was the 3rd and 4, and it was a fake pitch to the outside. He tried to flick it into Nelson Aguilar. It got stuffed big time. Lane Johnson didn't help out on that play. He got blown up, so the play kind of blew up real quickly. But I did not like that play call out of Doug Pederson. Look at me pointing out the one play call that really didn't make me smile. Had everything else where I think he put together a great game plan. Let me just rip into the one that I didn't like here at the very end of the podcast here. That's funny. Let's see how they respond. Because the Bears are coming to town. We finally have a home game. It's been so long since they've been home, and the Bears have been struggling. They lost today on a missed field goal to win the game at the end. Wow. Shocker there. Shocker. All right, so there you have it. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.